G'day guys, today we're going to take a look at the Eurimbula Sea Trail and how to plan for success by learning from my mistakes. The Eurimbula Sea Trail is an 80 kilometre journey that can apparently be taken by canoe, kayak or boat. Now I say apparently and I'll expand on this a little bit later. But the trail starts in the beautiful town of 1770, just here, and then there are 4 campgrounds along the way. So the first one's at the 5k marker, which is around about here, and that one's called Eurimbula Creek Camping Area. The second one is a further 10k's along, and it's just inside the mouth of Middle Creek, just around about here. And that one's coincidentally called Middle Creek Camping Area. The third campsite is a 17 kilometre paddle up through Middle Creek, along here, which turns into Pancake Creek, comes up and out into Pancake Creek roughly around about there. And that one's called Rod's Peninsula Camping Area. And lastly, 5k's from here at the 37.2 kilometre mark, we've got Busted Head Camping Area. Now back to this word, apparently. I was looking to do a canoe expedition when I found this trip. Now I could have taken my sea kayak, and in hindsight, I really wish that I had. So the first 15k's up along here and into the mouth of Middle Creek, in my opinion, and in the weather that I witnessed when I was there, is not safe to passage in an open canoe. The waves in the open sea made it too risky. And looking at the bar crossing in Middle Creek, there was no way I was getting out of there, in or out, without taking on water and capsizing. So they say it is accessible by canoe, but really I'd only advise doing that in this section here, in between Middle Creek and Pancake Creek. And so my advice is this trail is best suited to a sea kayak or a boat. So I opted for the safe approach, and I drove around into Middle Creek Camping Area here. The drive into this camp area is roughly about 15k's of rough corrugations and a final few kilometres of sand, and some parts the track is extremely narrow, so caution must be given to watch for oncoming cars around the blind corners, and you probably will need a 4-wheel drive to get in and out of there. Now, the Middle Creek camping area itself was sadly one of the worst national park grounds that I've seen. There was broken glass absolutely everywhere. Like, I couldn't find a spot to set up my tent without it being on broken glass, and there was used toilet paper on the ground beside the trees. The toilets weren't that far away, but people are obviously too lazy to take that walk and just leave their toilet paper lying around on the ground. So definitely don't want to walk around here barefoot. So the other problem I came across unexpectedly was the tidal currents. Now, if you have any experience paddling a canoe, you'll know that high winds can really push them around a lot. And with a single blade paddle, they're really not that quick to begin with. Put that up against a strong current and you've got a real battle on your hands. What I discovered was that if you want to do this journey in a canoe, you really need to plan to leave on the incoming tide, maybe about 2 hours before the turn. So Pancake Creek here in the north, up here, joins Middle Creek. Now at low tide, you'll be walking through parts of this here. The highest section there, there'll be no water at all. The incoming tide just roars through here from both directions. So you got it coming in here and coming in here. What I found was at the start of my journey, I was flying like 8 kilometres an hour in a big heavy canoe with a single blade paddle. Once I hit the halfway mark, the tide and the wind hit me hard. Like I was giving it about 90% and doing 1 kilometre an hour. It just became unbearable. So my advice is plan for the tides. In a sea kayak, this wouldn't have been such a big deal, but in a canoe, it was just horrible. And my third mistake was the time of the year. So I did this in November, and by about 9 a.m. the sun was burning through sun cream. Like, the heat was just incredible. If I went back there, I'd definitely choose a cooler time of year. So if you asked would I do this trail again, the answer would be probably not. I would like to do the full trail by kayak, but what I did see of it, there's a lot nicer spots to go and paddle than up here. But once you do get up into Pancake Creek, though, there is a nice reef somewhere around about here that apparently has some really great snorkeling in it. So that would have been really good to check out. Who knows? Maybe I will go back there one day. Well, that's it, guys. I hope if you're planning a trip up along this trail, this has helped you a little bit. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, get out beyond your backyard. The Eurimbula. Eurimbula.